Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we are talking about Star Wars Legion. It is a what to buy first when on a budget video. We're going to be talking about the Separatists for the Clone Wars era of Star Wars Legion. If you are a Clone Wars lover, if you are a tabletop miniatures games lover, and you're looking to get into Star Wars Legion or into getting a new faction of Star Wars Legion, or even just looking to expand your faction, and maybe you're on a budget, aren't we all? This is a great place to start. We're going to be talking about the Separatist faction for this game, how to get into the game, how to get started, what are some of the first purchases that I would recommend, and I'll kind of guide you down them. I'm not going to be covering every single Separatist expansion that exists. I'm just going to be naming off some great starting points, and hopefully you can go from there. If you like what you see, of course, I would love for you to stick around, click the subscribe button, like the video, share the video, all that great groovy stuff. Links in the description below. I'd love for you to join our Discord. We keep the discussion going there. We have a great family-friendly gaming Discord. We talk about Star Wars. We talk about Star Wars tabletop games like Star Wars Legion, Star Wars Armada, Star Wars X-Wing, Star Wars Shatterpoint, all kinds of great groovy stuff like that. Even some games that aren't even Star Wars related at all. It has been known to happen. So you can hop over there, check out social media links, head over to Crabbok.com. If you build up your armies well enough, and maybe you want to try out the free AI system we have over there on Crabbok.com, it's always a pretty cool thing that you can do this. So we got free content out there for a multitude of games as well. We are doing a giveaway right now for a $25 Amazon gift card that you can put towards an expansion of your choice. And of course, if you're on a budget, who doesn't want to have a chance at that? All you have to do to enter to win is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. I want to know, what was your favorite moment from the Clone Wars? Was it maybe an episode from one of the animated shows? Was it an episode from, or a fight in particular? Maybe it was something from a book. Maybe it's something from the Bad Batch, which may be close enough to kind of get, I mean, it's kind of in that same era, right? Like, it's weird how they're kind of mixing eras that way. I also want to thank today's sponsor before we get too deep into it. If you like gaming with style and you want to upgrade your tokens to some really fancy metal double-sided tokens, head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check out their Legion compatible tokens. These things, folks, are absolutely fantastic. They are magnificent, double-sided, full metal. They're shiny, they're glittery, they catch the light beautifully. They make you want to play your games even more, and they just make you really feel good about your gaming experience. I feel that way when I play with them. I use them in my games. You can check out in my recent battle report. We had these tokens all over the place. Also, you can save 15% if you use code Crabbok VIP. So head over there and check them out. They have other tokens for other games as well. So and this code will work for any of their tokens on luxuryplaystyle.com. So head over there and check them out. All right, so we are going to be talking about our Separatist expansions today, how to get into the game if you are brand new. I'm going to switch the background here to have Asmodee's website pulled up behind me. I figured this is probably one of the easiest ways to kind of run through expansions and show you what to get. But like most Asmodee miniatures games, you're going to need a core set to get started. There are lots of different units that you can be starting out with, but the core set kind of gives you that well-grounded approach. I always recommend starting out with a core set because there are other ways. There's an essentials kit where you can get, where you can get some of your tokens and basics that you need to play. But all of that stuff is going to already be in the core set. Plus, you're going to be getting enough to learn the game with a friend because you're also going to get some clones, some Republic stuff in here. So the core set is like Grievous versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. So you're going to have General Grievous. You're going to have a Droidica. You're going to have a couple of B1 battle droids in here. Pretty cool stuff, but you're also going to get Obi-Wan Kenobi, a couple of clones, and a Bark speeder bike, right? So you can actually learn the game. It's not enough to play a complete game. It's not enough to play the full 800-point game, but it's enough to get you a small little kind of tester army to play a smaller game and just kind of learn some of the basic fundamentals. What's great about this is if you decide you want to stick with the clones, you can sometimes split this with a friend, kind of cutting your cost in half. There's enough cards and content in here for you to kind of split a lot of that stuff. Although it also comes with dice and range tools, movement tools, all that kind of cool stuff. But this was very, very cool stuff. A great way for you to get started and learn and actually have somebody to play against. However, if you're joining a bigger community and looking to just get a foothold into a faction, and you're not really concerned with the learn to play mechanics of it, and you want to get a little bit more of an advanced build, there's another option, and that's going to be the Separatist Invasion Force Battle Force box. Now, battle forces are kind of like sub factions within the factions, and so this is going to contain a battle force, which is, like they have battle boxes for other games, so it's going to be like kind of an army in a box. Now, this is definitely very, very efficient. You're saving a lot of money versus what you would spend for all of this stuff if you buy it separately. This can also be a great addendum onto your existing army if you are playing Separatists and you've already kind of said, hey, you know what, I already bought the core set, I really like this, I want to now take my Separatist army and expand on it. This is another option for you. It's not the perfect expansion onto it, because you're going to get a duplicate General Grievous, which isn't necessarily the greatest. You can't use two General Grievouses, but you could build him differently, so that's kind of cool. So like to show you what you get in here, you're getting another General Grievous, you're getting 4 units of B1 battle droids, which is pretty cool because you have 2 in the core set. That brings you up to 6 units of B1 battle droids, which maxes out your B1 battle droids for normal Separatist armies. But if you're running that Separatist Invasion Force, you can actually have up to 8. So you even have room to add some more B1 battle droids if you want. But having 6 is really good. It's really, really good to start out with, because that's probably the most common number of B1. It's very common to run 6 B1 battle droids. They are very much a swarm kind of faction. They like to have lots of troops out there, just in an order, just like radioing instructions all the way down this big gun line of B1 battle droids. Happens quite frequently. It's pretty cool. You're going to get 2 more Droidekas in here, and while Droidekas are not the greatest unit in the Separatist force, you're going to have 2 of them, which would max you out at 3 support units. Droidekas are support units, and typically people don't run more than 3 supports. And you can still use them. They're not the greatest, but they're a good way to kind of get you used to different mechanics. They have shields, and it's a good kind of starter support unit until you get into like some of the more advanced support units that exist. You're going to get a tank, the AAT, very iconic from Episode 1's Battle of Naboo. Very, very cool stuff. Love, love, love the tank. Love it. It's beautiful. It's a little difficult to assemble. So again, if you're a new player getting into this, you're going to have to get some assembly experience. I've got videos that talk about how to put these miniatures together, how to build them, what kind of glue to use, what kind of tools and stuff like that. We've got a lot of helpful stuff in our Discord. Also, I've got sections for like video libraries in there. So because I have a lot of videos, I do videos just about every day. It's very easy to miss some of them. So I have like some important ones kind of pinned to the top of the Discord channel, and so that's another great reference if you guys are looking for stuff like that. You're also getting some really cool Magna Guards in here. The Magna Guards are a really good unit. They're a newer unit. Grievous is like protectors, it's just they're awesome. You're gonna get those in here. You're gonna also get some cards to run these guys as their own battle force, almost like a splinter faction within the Separatists that is more about droids and less about Sith. Right, so that's kind of part of the theme of the Separatist invasion. Although I don't believe you can use Darth Maul because he was at the Battle of Naboo, and the Battle of Naboo was a heavy inspiration for this battle force, although it's not restricted to only units that were present at the Battle of Naboo. Hence, General Grievous's inclusion, because, well, that makes sense to get General Grievous. Plus, he's cool, and I'm sure if he were around at the time of the Battle of Naboo, I'm sure he would have been happy to help out. So it's not necessarily the Naboo invasion, but it's how they might invade a similar world once General Grievous was sort of there. So, but a little more expensive than the core set, but you're getting a much bigger build. So again, great place to start. Now, if you get this, you're also going to have to get an Essentials kit, and that is going to lead into, that's going to give you your dice and stuff, because this battle box is kind of designed, hey, if you already have a starter, if you already have a core set, do you already have all the stuff you need? Or maybe you already play a different faction and you just want to add a new faction. You won't necessarily, there's a lot of stuff you may already have that you won't need here. But if you're a brand new player, you'll have to get the Essentials kit also. Now, at this point, I'm going to expand on some other things that are good, or at least that I will recommend. But I want to point something out, is that you can do whatever you want, right? There's certain things I'm not recommending in here, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get them. If they like Boba Fett, is a good example for like Imperial players. Like a lot of people, like I don't usually recommend Boba Fett right away, and they're like, "But Boba Fett's cool." Well, then follow the rule of cool. Like I don't recommend Cad Bane for the Separatists in here as in my what to buy first. I personally don't like him, but you might love him. Right, and because Legion is a game that you should be having fun with, I think first and foremost, and maybe focusing on being ultra competitive as a more of a secondary, like that should be maybe one of your eventual goals, but not your first goal. That's my recommendation. I think you should focus on having fun first, and that's a big part of it, and that's part of my own bias as well, because we're all gonna have our own different opinions on different things. But I think so if there's something that you have your heart set on that is in the Separatist faction or is compatible with the Separatists, for example, you have the entire Shadow Collective, which is kind of its own sub faction. And the Pikes, for example, are very popular within a lot of factions. But maybe you want to run the Pikes with the Separatists. You can. I don't recommend that. I'm not including that in this list. They're very effective, but they're a little more advanced of a unit. They're mercenaries, and mercenaries have their own rules. Same thing with a lot of the bounty hunters now that used to be Separatists that are now mercenaries. Like a lot of that stuff is a little more advanced as far as its play style and there's extra rules for it. And I just and also some of that, like with Pikes and stuff, have been very ultra competitive and almost a little toxic at times. And so if you're still learning the game, I don't think you want to get into the really try hard kind of ultra meta heavy competitive lists right away. So. But if that's something that you're into and you definitely want to do that, then absolutely go for it. But I'm going to continue this with a lot of my recommendations based on, I think, value and cool factor and a combination of both of those. But still, if there's something that you have your heart set on, or your buddy recommends something that's not on here, it's not, it's just my opinion on what to get. Next up is going to be the Star Wars Legion upgrade card pack. This one is particularly cost effective. It's only $10, and it gives you a whole bunch of upgrade cards that were otherwise faction locked or particular, like paywalled behind a very particular expansion. Legion is going through a change right now where newer content doesn't come with upgrade cards anymore unless they're unique to only that particular expansion. So upgrade cards are very, very rare to show up in some of the more recent expansions. But in Legion's first couple of waves, I think their first 8 waves, maybe even 9 waves, there were a lot more expansion cards in the game. And so, but they would come out like there'd be like certain types of grenades only came with this unit, and certain force upgrades only came with this unit. Like Yoda came out with a card called Burst of Speed. It was really, really cool for any Jedi or Sith, but it only came with Yoda. And so if you're playing Separatists and maybe you want Count Dooku to be able to go really fast, right? You'd have to go and buy Yoda to get it. Well, so they started taking a look at certain things like that. And at a certain point when the Clone Wars first came out, they put out the first upgrade card pack. And this one has a lot of those cards. Not all of them, but has a lot of upgrade cards that were locked behind a certain particular faction or expansion pack. Burst of Speed is not actually in this one, but I thought that was a good example to kind of explain the philosophy behind what you're getting in here. You're getting a lot of upgrade cards that are going to give you different build options with what you already have. And I think that that's pretty cool. Next up is going to be the Separatist Specialist personnel upgrades. This is a pretty cool pack. Has 4 different droids in here. You're getting a T-Series, you're getting a little repair guy, you're getting a medic, and then you're getting the little recon drone. And they do different things, and they can go in all of your droid units and do very, very cool stuff. The T-Series can be a leader, a generic leader all on his own. Which is also very cool. He's a very cheap and effective leader. The Separatists were really in need of some cheaper leaders because when this faction first came out, they had very expensive leaders. Dooku and Grievous were the first 2 commanders they had, and they needed some cheaper leaders that could allow them to do more with the rest of the force. And this one fit the bill for that. Plus, it's cool to have a medic or a repair guy around to patch up your other droids or to inject some Bacta into your biologicals that happen to be aligned with the Separatists. And so they give you a lot of cool little ways to outfit your B1 droids, or if you decide to get some B2s, super battle droids, eventually, these can also work with those. They're very cool. These will not be able to go in Dark Troopers for the Empire anymore, though. They have been errated. Also, if you're new, I definitely urge you to get over to atomicmassgames.com and check out some of the Star Wars Legion documents they have over there, because there have been a lot of errata to a lot of cards, and basically kind of balance changes, quality of life changes for a lot of cards, and so there's a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about here that has had certain changes and certain errata. Next up, it will be the B1 Battle Droids upgrade. This is it's another 4 minis in one box. It's only $24.99. Actually, it was pretty cool MSRP, but it's another B1 unit. You can run them just as their own unit, but really what you get these for is you're getting some different options for your B1s. You're getting 2 new personnel, 2 new heavy weapons. You get a long range sniper in here. You get a longer range kind of long range shooter. You also get that short range poison gun, which is a really fun one. I really like the poison gun for the B1s, and then you get certain other basically leader type personnels that can give you certain bonuses, like allow you to ignore some of your AI and things like that. So it gives you new ways to build the B1 battle droids that you already have, or be an extra B1 unit. I really like this one. This one is obviously going to be better if you have more B1s. If you, let's say you decided you wanted to go heavy on the pikes, or you wanted to run a lot of B2 super battle droids instead of B1s, because you still have to have 3 core of your own type. But I think most Separatist builds run very heavy on the B1 battle droids, and this is just a great way to give yourself more options with them. Next up, we're going to go with Darth Maul. Now, I know some people initially said, wait a second, Darth Maul wasn't a Separatist. Well, he wasn't, like the Separatists didn't get officially declared until episode 2. Like, Darth Maul was there at the Battle of Naboo. This battle force was kind of, or the battle force for the Separatist invasion has draws a lot of inspiration off of that episode 1 battle at Naboo. He was there for it. He kind of laid the groundwork, and Darth Maul is just awesome, and it's such a good thing that he is here. I'm so glad that he was included in this game. I mean, he is gorgeous. He's one of the most beautiful miniatures in the whole game. And the other thing that makes this a really, really great expansion, not only is he an operative, he gets to operate a little differently. He's not a commander. He's not out there like giving orders to the troops. He's kind of out there doing his own thing. He's like, no, you guys do your own thing. I will kill them. Yes, I will crush them with my lightsaber. Well, actually, you wouldn't really crush anybody with a lightsaber. You'd slice and dice with a lightsaber. Yeah, more than crush. If they come in with some kind of Jedi weapon that did crushing, that would be pretty weird, because you can use the Force to that. But yeah, Darth Maul is awesome. And he comes with his little Sith infiltrator droids that can also sneak out there and put extra little observe tokens on enemy units and just make them better. They kind of support the whole Force. He's just such a great expansion. So you're getting 2 units in one box. Incredible value here. And Darth Maul is also super, super awesome in general. He's also a great purchase if you're thinking about going with the Shadow Collective eventually, because there's a different version of Maul, and then you can take some of his command cards here and use them with basically the Clone Wars version of Maul with the metal legs. You can eventually run that one, and the cool thing about Legion is when there's multiple versions of the same character, usually that means you get to take their command cards and then just kind of basically have more options for that version. At least in the case of the Shadow Collective version of Maul, you'll have 6 options for command cards. So really cool if you're a dual faction player as well. But even if you're only playing Separatists, this is still a great value. Next up, the Super Tactical Droid. Here's a great expansion that gave us a really effective and very competitive commander. And just a brilliant commander option for the Separatists. Very effective with a lot of the current meta stuff, and just really cool altogether. And what's also very great about this is you get 3 different versions of the super tactical droid. You can run more of a kind of generic super tactical droid, or you can run a named super tactical droid. You can run Kalani or Kraken, which is pretty cool. So having multiple options to run the same unit, although you're only getting one model in this pack, you're getting a couple of different like 3 different play styles of Commander all in one box. And he's very, very effective. So a very cool expansion to check out. Next up, Count Dooku. He is incredible for a number of reasons. He's got this Makashi mastery that makes him a very effective against enemy Jedi. He can remove the immunity to pierce that a lot of Force users tend to have, and he can actually he's one of the few people that can sort of reliably get damage through to a very difficult to kill units, like people like Emperor Palpatine, for example. It's like always my dream to have Dooku face off against his former master Palpatine and slice him and actually get some damage through, because it can be so hard to do that. But Dooku is a really, really good character. He's a little on the expensive side, not dollars, but as far as trying to find a spot for him in your army, he consumes a lot of roster points because he's very valuable, and he gets made even better with Asajj Ventress, who's also on this list. Now, Asajj is not currently out yet at the time of me recording this video, but we have seen her fully spoiled, and she is incredible. She is probably one of the she's going to be one of the most powerful units, I think, in the game for a while, if played correctly. Sith and Jedi are tricky to play to their maximum efficiency in this game, primarily because of the fact that there's a lot of shooting going on, and they need to try and make their way and get close enough to you before they get gunned down. And they can only deflect so many blasters. It's not like in the movies where they deflect 100% of them. It's more like Order 66 time, where they deflect a couple and then eventually get shot down. That's kind of how they play in this game. So when I watch Order 66, I'm like, yep, that was me. Yep, that was me. Every time I run Darth Maul, I'm like, oh, I'm going to deflect one, and I get shot 10 more times, and I'm like, I'm dead in the first turn. Why? Every time. But so there's definitely a little bit of a skill curve when it comes to really trying to take your Jedi or Sith, your saber users, your Force users, and get them close enough to get behind enemy lines and assassinate enemies. But she can do that. But one of the cool things about Asajj Ventress also is that she comes with another really cool card for Dooku that allows them to work together very well, and it gives you additional options for Count Dooku. So I thought that's a pretty cool thing to, you can run Dooku kind of by himself, you can run Dooku with Asajj, and they're a little bit more effective that way, or you can run Asajj without Dooku. She'll also be an operative. You could even run Asajj and Maul together, which would be really cool. I'm probably going to do that. As a matter of fact, you can fit up to 9 lightsaber blades in one list if you wanted to run General Grievous, who has 4, depending on how you build him. You could run Maul, who has 2. You could run Dooku, who has 1, and that used to make what we call the 7 sabers. But now that you've got Asajj Ventress, you can fit her in. There do exist enough points to fit her in. Is the 9 saber, or what I like to call nano saber list. It's not particularly effective, but it's loads of fun. You can always try that out. But all seriousness aside, she's a very very good looking character, and her unit card just looks extremely deadly. So she'll be really fun. She'll be really fun, especially if you got Dooku already. Moving forward, I have to throw this guy in there. He's crazy strong. The DS-D1 Dwarf Spider Droid unit expansion. This is another support option. This is for later on, once your collection has started to build up a little bit. If you get tired of running Droidicas as your support, these are a great support unit. Very, very effective. They've got some armor. They've got a long-range ion gun that makes them very effective. They work very well with the super tactical droids. A lot of people like to run multiples of this unit. This is one of the best support units in the game. Very, very effective, and may eventually get nerfed a little bit. But they've already seen a little bit of nerfing, but they're still a good unit. I think they're going to continue to be a good unit for quite a long time. And these were kind of more prominently featured at the Battle of Kashyyyk. A lot of other stuff from the Battle of Kashyyyk is available. It's not all on this list, but if you're going for a themed list, that could be a really cool thing to pair into your Kashyyyk themed list. I want to include the BX series droid commandos too. These are a pretty versatile unit. A lot of, every faction needs its snipers, and you can get your snipers in here. You can also get some sword versions of these. You can run them kind of long range or close range. They have some cool shields that you can build them with. You can have them shoot, stab, medium range, long range, shields, no shields. You can run them as a strike team. You can run them as a full unit. There's a lot of different ways to run these guys. They're pretty cool, and they give you a lot of versatility for the unit. And I think that counts for a lot. So they're super fun, and I think you might want to check those out, especially if you're getting into this faction, at least for the sniper options alone. Snipers are just awfully effective in this game. If you're getting farther and farther into your collection and you've played a couple of games now and you're looking to change up your game a little bit, comes later on, but I want to remind you about the Battlefield expansions that exist. Before you want to go out and try and play maybe competitively, look at these Battlefield expansions. There's a couple of them. There's quite a few, as a matter of fact, but most of them just have terrain pieces. Check out the Vital Assets pack, however, because while it does have some boxes and terrains and mine carts and things like that, those are all used in some of the new battle cards that come with it. It's got new objectives, it's got new deployment cards, and new condition cards that will drastically change up the way Legion is played. Legion is, while it is a shooting game, it's not a straight deathmatch. There's always objectives and different, so every game is a little bit different. And this is going to really heavily expand on those differences that make each game unique and are a great kind of, after you've been playing for a couple of months and you want to now kind of vary up your game a little bit, this is a way to do that. And there's also some great objectives and cards in here that help vehicle-based lists, whereas before this came out, there was a little bit less to really make vehicles shine. To a lesser extent, the Priority Supplies pack is the other Battlefield expansion that I think you should consider. This one only has one set of battle cards, so only one new condition, deployment, and objective. However, it also has the stuff that can support that one, and then they're very popular cards, so that this particular condition, deployment, and objective are seen quite often, and they're some of the most often selected cards for play. But you're only getting one of each, but the price is a little bit lower. As you get more and more farther down the line, you may want to check out the other card pack. This is Legion Card Pack 2. I have this as my last option. It is still a very inexpensive, although it's currently, at the time of me making this, it's currently out of stock. But what makes these card packs, again, so good, like the other one before, is the fact that you can get access to cards that were previously off limits. This also comes with new versions of Bounty Hunter cards, so if you're a fan of Cad Bane, or Bosk even, who used to only be available for the Empire, can now, you can run his cards that come in here, you can run him for Separatists now. So you have some mercenaries that you can now use. This has like updated versions of some of those cards and gives you ways to run some of that stuff. This is a good one if you're also thinking about running Shadow Collective or picking up some of the Shadow Collective cards as well. It's going to give you more options. This is a better purchase, though, for people who play multiple factions or even all factions, as it has a lot of different stuff. You can see the different faction symbols on the bottom there. It has stuff for Separatists, Republic, Rebels, Empire, and the Shadow Collective, which, while the Shadow Collective isn't its own faction, well, it's not a whole faction, it is a sub-faction or a battle force, and has some stuff that is unique only to it as well. So this one kind of is a little bit later on, because if you're only a Separatist player, this one may not do as much for you outside of some of the upgrade cards that come in here and some of the mercenary cards that give you some bounty hunter options. But it's still worth considering. All right, that's everything on my list for the Separatists. There are other options out there. Maybe you had your heart set on something else, like that big tank from Kashyyyk, right? Or whatever. There's a lot of really cool stuff that is out there. A lot of it has its uses, but those were some of my favorites. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have questions, you want to keep the discussion going, you can leave them down in the comments section. Also, you can hop in Discord and converse and engage with people a little bit more. There we have lots of stuff. You can share some of your paint jobs too. You can do lots of cool stuff like that. And stay tuned. We've done other faction breakdowns. We'll do more. I haven't done Republic yet. As if you're curious, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to wait to see how the Commander Cody reveal looks. Once he gets revealed, I think I'll try and do my Republic what to buy first for 2023. And because I have the sneaking suspicion he's going to be like one of the first things you need to buy, because I just have a feeling. But rather get that information first. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this all possible. I will talk to you soon. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all, and cowabunga. And I fight for the users.